Woke up this morning really excited about what I am about to share with you in this live stream because I created this lesson just for you. So I'm really excited about it. So if you're a musician who is looking to get more gigs and wanting to make more connections and you haven't really achieved that yet, it's not because you're not talented, it's because you haven't made the right connections yet. And today we are going to fix that, and I'm excited about doing that. So in this live stream, we are going to be talking about networking for musicians, finding the right people so that you can unlock more gigs, collaborations, and career opportunities through authentic connections. And I just want to take a moment to thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to invest in yourself. I will take your time. I won't waste your time, and we're going to jump right into this. So I want to start this off by talking about why networking is essential in today's music scene. And the first reason is because it opens doors to opportunities. This is something that not a lot of musicians really think about, but in business, one of the sayings in business is that it is about who you know. And that's the same thing with us musicians. Like we get a lot of our opportunities through people we know. If you think about the people, all of the musicians that you may know of who have gone on tour and have been with other musicians and did big things and all of these kind of things, it's always been through people that they know that help them get on, right? So you got a friend that knew somebody that you got a call from that hooked you up with somebody, and then you got in the game or you got on the tour, you got the gig through that person. It's never been through stuff like just sitting at the house and waiting for somebody to give you a phone call. You're sitting in your house in your lone island, waiting for someone to give you a phone call, and big things just happen. It's always through these connections and these communities and through these networks of people where these doors of opportunities get open. Now, the next reason is because you gain access to industry knowledge. This is something that happens as well when you get connected with people and you get into the network. You learn the sort of inside tricks and inside tactics of that network, what it takes to be successful, who do you have to know, the types of music that you need to learn, what you need to be playing, how you need to be playing it or performing it, and all of this kind of stuff to get noticed. You get that industry knowledge when you get connected with people in the industry. It's just how it works. So when your network is working, when they're out there doing their things, they share the information with you. So that's another reason why networking is essential. And another reason is because it builds a supportive community. This is something that is greatly needed in our musician circles, a supportive community. The amount of cutthroat, behind the back behavior out there that happens in our industry is it's mind-boggling to me. Just a quick story about how mind-boggling that is to me. See, I come from an area, and I'll get into this in a second when I share my story about something, but I come from an area where when I was coming up as a musician, there was a lot of support. Like we had each other's backs. If you got connected with a network of people and you got in with those people and they knew you and you knew them, there was no cutthroat behavior. There was no going behind the back. Matter of fact, it was really like the opposite, because I had a lot of friends that were musicians that if something was happening, they would call me about it. Hey, T, did anybody call you about this? Did anybody ask you about this? I just want to make sure before I take this gig that you didn't get a call about it. It was literally that kind of stuff. So to exist in this time now where it's like the complete opposite, where nobody cares, man. They will undercut you. They will take gigs from you. They'll talk about you behind your back and all of this kind of stuff. We just don't have that supportive community of old times like we used to have. And that's something that's greatly needed. So when we build these networks, it builds a supportive community. When we're connected with each other more, and we're not just in our lone islands and sitting on the couch and on scrolling social media and stuff like that, it builds a supportive community. So these are the reasons why networking is essential in today's music scene. Again, it opens doors to many, many opportunities when you have a network of people, because it's about who you know. And then you gain the access to the industry knowledge that your network has. And again, it builds a supportive community. Now, so just sharing a little bit about my personal backstory and about my networking journey and how I came to learn a lot of this information and apply it that I'm teaching you and talking to you about right now. So about 20 years ago, almost to the day, it's so funny that we're talking about this. It's been now about 20 years in a week. So 20 years ago, I moved to the city that I live in now. And when I moved, what happened was I was at the sort of top of my game in the city that I came from. I was one of the highest paid musicians around there. And when I'm saying that, trust me, that's not a flex. It's not a brag, because the ceiling was really low. So it's like saying if you're the highest paid musician, but if the highest paid musician is only getting $100, that just means everybody else is getting less. So it's not a flex at all. But it was one of the highest paid musicians around. I really maxed out. I felt like there was something more, and that I wanted to do more and all of that stuff. Well, I had a couple of friends that live in the city that I live in now that I had called, and we were just chopping it up, and I was talking to them about the stuff that was going on, and they got to telling me about the stuff that was going on in the city. They were telling me about how a lot of the musicians here were making 5-6 times what I was making in being maxed out in the city that I was coming from. And I was listening to them talk about this stuff. I was like, really? Wow. Like how, like really musicians get paid that? Like this mindset shift was happening that you hear me talk about all the time, about how we need to shift our minds to understanding that there is more and that this stuff is possible. So in having these conversations with my friends, my mind was shifting. I was like, man, well, I need to come there. I got to see, like, it was about a 5-hour drive from where I was living at the time. So I moved 5 hours. So I spent about 6 months preparing to move here, and I finally did it. I packed up a U-Haul truck in my apartment where I came from. It was one big U-Haul truck, just threw the stuff. And there was literally, I remember, because I had a couple of friends help me pack the truck. There was literally nothing organized in the back of the truck. I just literally threw all my stuff in there. Had roughly about $100 in my pocket, so I was broke, and moved to the city that I moved in now to take a job at a church. And what happened was, when I got here, I started attending this weekly jam session at this local jazz club. It was a local jazz club here in my city that was really popular at the time. It was jumping, and a lot of musicians would roll through there weekly. So I started attending this jam session, and I would just go. I remember it was on Sunday evenings. They would have it like Sunday evenings at like 8:00. And I would come there, and they would, let the musicians that were new there come sit in on a song and stuff like that. And I did that a few times. And when I got up there, I made sure I did my best. I got up there on the songs that I knew, and I like killed on them at least the best I could at the time. But the thing I did was I started exchanging contacts with everybody. And when I say everybody, I'm not joking. Like, of course, there's a little bit of hyperbole there, but most of the people there, I was exchanging contacts with every time I showed up. If there was someone new there and they got on an instrument, they got jumped on bass, drums, or keys, or whatever the case may be, I was like, I need to get that person's number. And so what I was doing was I was building my network. So much so that just after a couple of weeks of doing that, I had 40, 50 contacts in my phone of musicians from around the city that I had connected with and networked with, and that called me to put me on gigs. So you got 40 to 50 people, and then they get gigs. They need somebody on it. They say, oh, I just met this guy. He plays pretty well. Let me call him and see what's up. And even from that, I've made now what I've calling sort of lifelong friends now from a lot of that. Like a few of those people in those networks have become very close friends of mine. And we've shared life moments and stuff. I've been in these guys' weddings and all of this kind of stuff. So it's been a real sort of amalgamation of this thing where I've built this network. Now, let me just say this. At the time, I didn't know this stuff that I was talking about. Now, I didn't have it in perspective like that. I just thought this is what I needed to do. Like, let me connect with these people. If I'm going to make it in this city and I'm going to do what get some gigs and all of that kind of stuff, let me just connect with some people. So I just thought that's what I had to do. I didn't have this sort of framework in my mind that I have in it now that I'm giving you, that this is kind of the way to do it. And again, as a result of all of that, what has happened was I've made these connections, and it has brought me just that foundation of the connections and the networks that I've made have been the foundation of a lot of, at least 70-80% of the success that I've had here in my city as a musician, that has allowed me to remain full-time, take care of myself, take care of my family, and really thrive. I do quite well as a full-time musician. And it's all through those networks. Now, there are some challenges of networking in today's music scene. So you guys kind of know a lot of these challenges that I'll mention here. And one of them is what I call the lone wolf mentality. The lone wolf mentality. And that mentality is where you hear me talk about all the time, where we're on these isolated islands within ourselves. We as musicians, we individually sit at home on the couch, waiting for phone calls, for people to give us opportunities for gigs and all of this kind of stuff. We don't really take a lot of action anymore these days upon ourselves to go out and just be go-getters and do it. We wait for opportunities. And not only that, we think we can do everything by ourselves. This is a mindset shift that I'm getting to here that you really need to pay attention to. Thinking that we can do everything by ourselves. And let me be clear about that. This is not a necessarily conscious thought where we're going around and saying, I am the man, I am the person, I can do this all by myself. We're not necessarily thinking about it in those terms. We just act as if that's the case. And to be honest and to be fair about it, society has kind of dictated that a little bit to us. So I can sit here now I'm in my studio right now. I literally have my keyboard sitting here in front of me. You can't see it, but I have my Nord Stage 2 sitting right here in front of me. I can play it. I have my computer here in front of me. I can produce all of my music. Everything that I want to do. I can do this live stream by myself. I can set all of this stuff up by myself. So a lot of the stuff in the world now has created opportunities and made it possible for us to do things as lone wolves. So a lot of us kind of just buy into that and use that as this is our gauge. This is how we get to do stuff. Well, I'm here to tell you that's just not the case. I point out all the time that or if not most of, all of the major artists and stuff that you know of, the Beyoncés, Taylor Swifts, anybody that you can name, these people have networks and teams around them. They're not lone wolves. If you've ever seen, I use Beyonce as an example because Beyonce is she's from the city that I live in now. She's a Houston, Texas native. So I use her as an example a lot. But if you know her story, like she grew up around her family, her dad and her mom, they built a team around her as a young girl, like Destiny's Child, those girls, and they had a team around them. Their parents were helping them. They had a network of people. So even at a young age, people understood that you need a team. It wasn't Beyonce was just a star by herself. She became a star. She rose as a star within a network of people. And that's just how it works. Now, another challenge is busy schedules. And this is I'm being fair about this because this is a real challenge. Everybody, all of us are busy nowadays. All of us have stuff to do. None of us are just sitting around twiddling our thumbs necessarily. We have stuff to do and everybody's busy. So it makes networking, the things that it takes to build a network, it makes it challenging. When you have a 9-to-5 job, you have gigs on the weekend, you got a family to take care of, you have this, you have that, if you got kids, you got to go to their school events and game, like all of this stuff keeps us busy nowadays. And it makes building a network or taking the time to try to build a network really, really difficult because you're tired. Like you're mentally tired, you're physically tired, you got all of this other stuff to do. Like, man, I don't really want to focus on building a network. Especially, and this is something that I say all the time, especially if you're getting by and you're doing okay. Doing okay is the enemy. Get this. Doing okay is the enemy of doing something greater. It's the enemy of success because you get wrapped up in just, I'm okay. I don't really need to do nothing else. I'm surviving. My bills are paid. I'm eating every day. You know, it's cool. Getting by and doing okay is the enemy of success and doing something greater. And this is the foundation of these busy schedules thing that I'm talking about. We get so busy, we get so wrapped up in our lives and stuff that we do. We've had some success. We're doing okay. So it makes us not want to do anything else. But what we have to do is get by that. We have to say that no matter that I'm busy, no matter if I want to go that extra mile, I want to have that extra oomph, I want to go full time as a musician, all of these things that we want to do, we have to be able to manage our schedules, manage our time, and put time into building networks in what we're trying to do. Now, next, another challenge is the pressure of trying to prove yourself. So the pressure of proving yourself. Oh my goodness, this is a big one. This is a huge one. Trying to prove yourself in and of itself is a lone wolf mentality kind of thing. Because everything is about you. Let me show how good I am. Let me put out my stuff. Let me do this by myself so I get the credit for it. And that thinking, that mindset keeps you from building a network because you don't want anybody to steal your shine. You don't want anybody to come in and steal your glory. You don't want anybody to be in competition with anybody that's potentially better than you. You build a network of people that are around you and you got all of these great musicians and great minds and they can do all of these things. They're going to outshine you. And that goes against trying to prove yourself. But let me tell you, that is a detrimental mindset I have seen destroy musicians. This trying to prove yourself, everything be about you, about what you're doing and all of this kind of stuff. It is a detrimental mindset that destroys musicians. It makes you become arrogant, conceited, thinking that you are all that and a bag of chips, as they used to say, and that you can do everything yourself. And people get wrapped up in that mentality of trying to prove themselves, and they just become these people that nobody wants to work with. So it really becomes the antithesis of building a network because you're such a butthole. Nobody even wants to work with you anymore. So you see how that works? These are a lot of the challenges that we face in today's music scene, this lone wolf mentality, the busy schedules, and the pressure of trying to prove yourself. So you guys let me know in the chat what you're thinking. I'll go over here and check out what you guys are saying in the chat. Do I have my chat pulled up here? I'll just say hello to everyone. Hello in the chat. You guys drop a hello and let me know how you're doing, where you're watching from, how things are going for you. We're going to keep this going. And just do me a quick favor. If you're getting value out of this video from everything that we've talked about so far, just do me a quick favor and hit the like button on this video. And if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well. That helps out with everything we're trying to do around here on the channel. So thank you guys so much for that. We're going to keep this going. So let's talk about some key networking strategies and some actionable tips that we can do to build our networks. And the first thing is we want to be proactive and attend shows and events. So you just heard me talk about in my personal backstory about attending shows and everything like that, and about everything that I did to build a network, which now consists of over, literally in the past 20 years. This is not an exaggeration. I checked this while I was coming up with the content for this live stream just to kind of be sure. And this is, I didn't really do a thorough check on it, but literally it's probably around 1,000 or more people that I've built a network with in my current city. I live in the 4th largest city in the United States. So there's a lot of people here to build a big network with. So this, again, that's not some kind of flex. It's just what it is. But I did that through being proactive in attending shows and events. Now, you have, wherever you live, you have stuff going on in your area. This is something that everybody can do. This is not like one of these things, oh, well, Terrence, you live in a big city, it's easy for you. Maybe it is a little bit easier for me because I live in a big city, but I could have done the same thing in the smaller city that I moved from. Matter of fact, that's kind of what I did to be successful and reach sort of the top of the game there. I just didn't do it in these sort of specific terms that we're talking about here. But you got to be proactive. This is, if one of my favorite books, one day I'll do a live stream too and talk about like a lot of the books that I think a lot of us musicians should read. But one of my favorite books is called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by author Stephen Covey. Stephen Covey is his name. And one of the habits, one of those 7 habits is called be proactive. And I found that strategy, that principle to be so valuable and so true. It's the people who take action and who are proactive in the things that they try to accomplish and achieve that actually get there a whole lot faster. And it's the people who are reactive and that are lone wolves and try to do everything by themselves and they just sit around every day. They don't get anything done. It's the people, if you look at your network of friends and associates and coworkers and all of these people now, just take a second to do that. Take a second to think about all of the people that you know and just do a quick overview of them in your mind. And you think about who are the successful ones, who are the people who've achieved some level of success, you know, gotten the most money or make the most money or has the best careers or anything like that. And when you think about it, I guarantee you can point to those people's, the characteristics about those people. One of the things about them is that they're a go-getter. About their personality, they're a go-getter. They're always doing something. They're always working on something. They're always being proactive about doing something. And this is what we have to be as musicians and artists and bands if we want to be successful. And one of the ways that we can do that, again, is attend shows and events. Start doing that. When you're not gigging, when you're not working on a Friday night or Saturday night or Sunday morning or at church, whatever the case may be, on a Friday night, start showing up at other people's gigs, other people's shows, other people's events. Throw on some shirt and some slacks and some jeans, whatever, and show up and start introducing yourself to people. If you're a church musician, and you don't play for a church right now and you're looking to get into that circuit, start showing up at people's church services on a Sunday morning or when they have them on a Sunday evening. And introduce yourself, network with people, exchange contacts. This is one of these principles that's always going to be effective and just remain true When you go to other people's stuff and their events and you network with them, you build your community, you build your network. So this is something that's important to do. This is one of the strategies. Now, another thing that you can do is use online platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and all of these things. One of the good things about Facebook, I know a lot of people are on Facebook, but a lot of people have kind of migrated to a lot of the other social media platforms like Instagram and all of that kind of stuff, which is cool. But one of the good things about Facebook is Facebook still has Facebook groups. And what are Facebook groups at their core? They are networks. They are communities. And it's really easy to get involved in a lot of these Facebook groups and start networking with the people there. So all you have to do is go on Facebook, just search a network that you may want to be involved in. It's when I tell you there's a network for pretty much anything and everybody. Guitarist, rock guitarist Facebook group. Just go and search for that. Or jazz drummers, whatever it is that you want to network with the people. And I recommend doing getting involved in multiple groups like that. So use online platforms to start doing this. So in addition to attending shows and all of that, you can use these online platforms. Now, what you want to do, this is something that's important. What you want to do is craft your brief elevator pitch. Now, what do I mean by that? One of the things that makes this a lot easier is when you have, so let me give an example. Fellas, you'll know what I'm talking about here. All of us have had this thing where we've had, if you're, heterosexual male or whatever your sexual preference is, when you want to talk to somebody, you're romantically interested in somebody of the opposite sex or, again, same sex, whatever you're involved in, there's always a bit of nervousness about talking to them, right? Us guys have this thing about being able to walk up to a girl and, introduce ourselves and ask her for a phone number and all of that kind of stuff. It's always been a guy thing, right? This is something that's similar to that. So when you're networking, it can be, I want to acknowledge that it can be difficult. It can be, a little bit of fear involved in going and introducing yourself to people. But what makes it a whole lot easier and takes that fear away is when you have a elevator pitch, what I'm calling an elevator pitch. And what I'm sort of, I guess, making this analogy to is when you go talk to a girl, if you got your pickup lines is your elevator pitch. Now, again, not anything sleazy that, a lot of us guys get involved in, that kind of stuff, but your pickup line. So your elevator pitch when you go network with people is the stuff that you're just going to say to introduce yourself. I recommend something very simple, keeping it really easy. Hey man, you guys, especially I talked about this on one of my videos before, but when you attend these live shows and stuff like that, you wait for the band to go on break and then just walk up to yourself and say, hey man, you guys sound so good. I really appreciate the music and stuff that you're doing. You guys sound great. My name is Terrence. I'm a musician too. I play such and such, man. I just want to let you know that you guys sound great. So I appreciate your music. That's all you have to say. And in 9 times out of 10 cases, that's going to spark a conversation where they're going to ask you, oh, you're a musician. What do you play? Like, what do you play around here? And then that's where the conversation can go and you can take it from there. And it's usually something like, oh, well, I don't play much. I'm looking to get in there, man. Maybe I can give you my number and we can exchange numbers. So if you ever have anything you know about, you can let me know about it. And it's like, yeah, bro, like such and such, you can hit me up on this, or here's my Instagram and stuff like that. Network building. See how that works? It's a powerful strategy of doing that. So have your elevator pitch ready. Now, what you also want to do is you want to follow up on those relationships so that you maintain them. Something that is really, really, really important, because people are so busy, because people have things to do, the people that you introduce yourself to, it's easier for them to forget about you the moment they leave that spot that you showed up and met them at. You're easily forgotten. So you want to follow up with them when you make those connections, when they give you their number or you get their social media, their Instagram and all of that kind of stuff. Reach out to them in a couple of days. Say, hey man, it was nice meeting you. I just wanted to say you guys sounded really great again. Let me know if you guys have anything, you want to check out some of my stuff that I got on my Instagram page, you can check it out here, that kind of thing. So you're following up, and you can do that consistently. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing it like where you start nagging somebody and calling them or texting them every other day. Hey man, you got anything or anything like that? Not that kind of stuff. But you're maintaining the relationship. This is something that is extremely important. So you guys understand that? Let me go over here and see what some of you guys are saying in the chat. Michael is here saying shalom from Richmond, Virginia. Hey man, thank you for being here. Richmond in house, Richmond, VA. Rodrigo's Marilla City, Brazil. Yes, my friend. I want to come to Brazil, man. That's one of my bucket list things. I actually want to come to Brazil. A lot of people don't know this about me, but I'm a trained martial artist, and I love the form of martial arts called capoeira, and that's a Brazilian martial art. So Rodrigo, hopefully, man, I can come over there and visit soon and study some capoeira. Emperor saying howdy, man. Hey, Emperor, thank you for being here, man. Night Train is saying hello, Terrence from Kansas. From the Kansas. All right, man. Great advice. No lone wolf. Have to be a team player. Yes, sir. Good comment there, man. Thanks for being here. George Ribeiro Music is saying hi, George from Victoria, Australia. Oh, nice. Australia. I got a friend of mine. Actually, you guys just heard me talk about networking. A lot of the people that I met when I moved to my city. There's a saxophone player here that I know that's a good friend of mine. And she's a female saxophone. She's great, and she's from Australia. So yeah, man, much love from Australia. You say you just got here and at the tail end, hope I can watch it later. Yeah, man, this will be up. So definitely come back and watch it later. We're just kind of in the middle of it right now. We've only been here about 30 minutes. So we're kind of in the middle of it right now, or past the middle of it. So go ahead and watch it from the beginning when you get time. Emperor again saying YouTube wouldn't let me find you live stream just now. My other account. Oh, that's strange. Yeah, maybe once you go and just search my name, just type in my name and it'll probably come up. So just type in Terrence Fisher, spell like my name, TERENCEFISHER when you're looking for it. Santos is saying hello. I'm from Nigeria, man. Hey, welcome, man, from across the pond, Nigeria. Thanks for being here, Santos. Bruce Simmons is saying, hey, bro, just want to say you're giving us knowledge and I really appreciate it. Hey, man, it's my pleasure. Thanks, Bruce. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for watching the stream. It's my pleasure. Mike Keys is saying bless. Thank you, man. Right back at you. Emperor again is saying I'm re-entering music recording, and just by listening and joining conversations, I've gotten several plugs now. See how it works? That's great, man. Just by listening and recording. This is another great thing to do as well. Getting involved in like a lot of these live stream comments and stuff like that. That's a great way to network as well. So yeah, man, that's good to hear. Thanks you guys so much for being here. Again, we're going to keep this thing going. So next, I want to talk about overcoming networking fears and barriers. This is something that we just kind of talked about a little bit. So there is a fear of approaching people, but what you got to do, man, look, and I'm sorry, it's a little bit of tough love, but this is the saying they used to say when I was coming up. You got to grow a pair. You got to grow a pair. Now, listen, I want to acknowledge again that we all have, there's these social anxieties, there's these social pressures and stuff about networking and meeting people and stuff like that. I get it. It's all there. We all deal with it to some extent. It's cool. But what I want to propose to you and help you understand is that all success, any and all success, is on the other side of uncomfort. Hear what I'm saying to you. Success is on the other side of uncomfort. So it's on that side of the street that you're not comfortable being on. It's jumping over to that side of the street that you have a little bit of fear on, getting used to it, not letting your fears control you and doing it in spite of being a little bit scared, a little bit fearful, where you're going to get to the other side of the street where success is going to happen. It's a principle that's really, really true that you got to really remember. It's on the other side of fear. All of the things that you want are on that other side of fear. So you got to grow this, what I would call sort of big chest mentality to attack things that you're fearful of. Whatever it is that you want to achieve. If you want a good relationship, if you're a guy, and I'm talking to a lot of the fellas here, I know a lot of fellas here on the live stream. If you want a girl, you gotta grow up here, and you gotta be able to go up and talk to her and have a conversation with her. You can't be, and you gotta do that while you're scared to do it, while you're nervous. That's gonna help you get a successful relationship. Now, I want to be clear. This is not a guarantee. It's not going to guarantee you the best results. It's not this thing to necessarily is going to get you everything. But what I can tell you is, in almost all cases, when you do decide to jump to that part of the street that you're fearful on and go do it anyway and grow up hair, stick your chest out and say, I'm going to do this despite my fear. In almost all cases, you either gain some success or you learn extremely valuable lessons that you can apply to yourself to help yourself be successful. So that's something that's very important to understand. Now, we also have the fear of rejection. But I can tell you, in a lot of these situations where we have these fears of rejection, it almost never happens, at least in the terms that we tend to think about it in our minds. So one of the things, I guess, with networking with a lot of other musicians and trying to go introduce yourself and build a network is we have this sort of internal fear that we won't be accepted, that people won't see us a certain way. And it's almost always not the case. People are there. There's a lot of bad things about humans and about how we do things. And one of those things is we do tend to judge people a lot, and that's there. But one of the good things about us human beings as well is that we're human beings, and we all want and need connections. And that want and that need and that desire helps us get past it's stronger than any judgment that we have about anybody. And let me break that down. I'm saying all that to say that, yes, when you meet someone, when you're trying to introduce yourself to someone and you're building networks, there at the beginning of it, it does seem like there is a little bit of a hierarchy. Like, I don't want this person in my circle because they're lesser than me in some way, or they're not going to accept you because you're lesser than them. And there's a little bit of that kind of stuff. But once they get to know you, once you get to introducing yourself and say, hey, this is what I do, that's what connections are built on. So I just want to reassure you that this fear of rejection that we tend to have a little bit, and again, it's subtle in a lot of us, or at least it's non-conscious in a lot of us. We're not going around thinking like, oh, I'm scared to do this. But we act in that way, right? So I just want to reassure you that in pretty much all of the situations where I've had that fear of rejection and all of the people that I've taught these lessons to, this almost never happens. The scenarios that we paint in our mind that would come from building networks and trying to introduce ourselves to people, all of that kind of stuff just never really happens. So that's something important to understand. So what that means is that we need to have a mindset shift, that we need to focus on the mutual benefits and genuine curiosity that we have with our networks. So when we're building these networks, we want to talk about mutual benefits. And this is something we'll get into shortly. I'm going to give you something. You guys hang with me because I'm going to give you something extremely valuable as we're getting to the end here. Give you something extremely valuable to be able to use to build your networks. So again, the mindset shift is about the mutual benefits. So when you're trying to build a network, you want to think about the mutual benefits that your network offers each other, or each member in that network. So if you think about it, it's like a homeowners association, if you guys are familiar with that. Like if you live in a neighborhood that has a homeowners association, this network or this homeowners association is basically a mutual beneficial thing for everybody in the community. So each member is protected by the rules of that homeowners association. So things like, having your yard taken care of, and having your trash in a certain area, and not having certain things in front of your house. All of these kind of things are rules of that homeowners association that govern each individual home in that community. And again, the benefit is that if we're going to make a rule that everybody's yard stays clean and the grass stays cut and all of that kind of stuff, the neighborhood looks good for everybody. So it's a benefit for everybody. So if you think about it in those terms, that's the mutual benefit of like the community thing that you have. So when you're trying to get past these fears and overcoming these barriers of thinking about the things that may be fearful about these communities and networks, like you being rejected or not being accepted, if you focus on the mutual benefits that you bring and that everybody brings to the table, it allows you to get out of that mindset of fear. And like I say, you want to focus on the mutual benefits and the genuine curiosity. If you have curiosity about the people, like you're genuinely curious. Again, I'm going to keep using the analogy of a guy trying to talk to a girl or something like that, right? When you have that genuine curiosity where you genuinely want to get to know someone, like this is a very interesting person and I want to get to know them. You're not looking to get something from them necessarily. You're looking to just be interested in who they are. That allows you to get rid of all of that fear because you're not thinking about like, oh, well, I just kind of wanted to know who you are. If you reject me, cool. Like it ain't that serious. I just thought you were interesting. I'm gonna go home and sleep at night. You see how that works? So again, these are some things in overcoming these barriers, these networking fears and barriers that we have. So the fear of approaching people, you got to just do it and grow a pair and just do it despite your fears. And again, the fear of rejection that always never happens. And then just shift your mindset to the mutual benefits and the genuine curiosity that you get from these networks. All right, so what are you guys saying in the chat? Let me just go over here and double check again. Mike's saying you're here from Jamaica. Oh man, yeah, Jamaica me crazy. Again, thanks, Mike, man, for being here. Emperor from Arizona. Oh, Arizona, I got a couple of friends in Arizona, man. I used to date a girl actually from Arizona when I was in college. She lived in a town outside of Phoenix called, what's the name of the town? Called Casa Grande. I'm sure you're familiar with it. Emperor's also saying we can have our own standards yet remain humble. That's real confidence. Absolutely. Absolutely, Emperor. That's well put. Have our own standards and remain confident. That is the key. Aaron saying really quickly, I tell my kids to be respectful of other people in their time. Don't burn bridges. You lost me at HOA though. So, okay. The HOA, the homeowners association, I know that's a sore spot for a lot of people. So I get it, man. But what I was making the analogy about was that, the governing rules, if in a good homeowners association, that's probably what I should have said. If you got a good one where everybody is kind of involved in it and everybody is benefiting from it, that's what it's supposed to be. And just like a network, that's how a network should work. Like where everyone is getting the mutual benefit out of it. So yeah, that's how I meant that. So let's keep it going here, guys. We're almost done. We got a few more minutes here. I got a couple more things to share with you, and I'm going to give you something really valuable. And we're about to talk about that now. So let's talk about creating your personal network plan. This is the how. We've been talking about the what so far. This is the how. So in building your network action plan, you want to set weekly goals of identifying 3 potential contacts. This is a really smooth entry point into doing this, where you want to, and we can do this work now, where you want to really just think about 3 potential contacts this week that you maybe want to reach out to, that you maybe want to connect with, build a network with. Just think about those 3 people. So just identify them in your mind. And then you're going to craft an email and or a text to reach out to those people. And I'll show you how to do that in just a second. So again, when you're identifying the potential contacts, what you want to do is make a list of individuals in your industry, which is the music industry, of course, related to the fields, who can work or who can help you grow your network and achieve your professional goals. So everybody just take the time to do that just for a moment. Just think about 3 people this week that, I may want to reach out to this person. And it could be anybody. It could be people you know that you may have met once or twice, or that you don't know, that you've seen before, whatever. I'm not necessarily talking about somebody famous and all of that, where you're going to have to go through all of this red tape. Just someone that you know of that, hey, I think I may want to get involved with that person. Let me just meet them and see how we can work together, kind of thing. And you identify those 3 people. So I want you to think about that now. So again, whoever those 3 people are, and if you don't have 3 people that you can think of, what I want you to do is start being proactive, like we talked about earlier. Start going to some of these events and shows of other people where you have now, oh, that may be a nice person to meet, that I maybe want to get connected with them. So start doing that, and then that's going to help out. Now, so I just talked about something I was going to give you and building this network, and we're talking about the how to do this now. So I want to give you the networking email that I use and that I continuously use. I've used literally now for about 12, 13 years now in different forms, but I've used this email to make a lot of connections. And this is after I've done the stuff I'm talking about. I've gone to shows, I've made connections with people, I've gotten their email, their phone number, and all of this kind of stuff. And I want to give you that now. And I'm going to take the time to just go through this email a little bit with you. And you guys, what you can do is, this is the email, and I've broken it down into the sections to help you understand it. So what you can do is take a screenshot of this. I'll leave this up while we're talking about it, and you can take a screenshot of it. Actually, I'll put it up. If you guys want to do it now, I'll just put it full screen. You guys can take a quick screenshot of it, and I'll put it back up again as we're talking about it. So if you don't catch it right now, you'll be able to get it. Okay, so this email, this is one of the most valuable emails that I have used in my time as a musician. So the email starts with opening. The thing about this email is that it's really brief and it's really non-evasive. That's what I like to call it. It's really simple. It's just a suggestion to connect. And the reason that this is important is because, again, people are busy. People have stuff to do. People will forget you. You're not that important to them when you just meet them. That's just the way that it goes. So you kind of want to ease your way into like building a relationship and a network with someone and with people. So the email starts with an opening. It says, my name is such and such. So my name is Mike. My name is Emperor, whatever the case, you guys, and you use your name. And I'm a musician, and then you say the type of musician that you are. So in my case, hey, I'm a keyboard player. I'm a drummer. I'm a bass player. I'm a guitarist, whatever. And I play this type of music. So it would read, hey, my name is Terrence and I'm a keyboard player and I play a lot of jazz music, maybe similar to what I saw you do. The next thing after that is you want to talk about the value you are bringing to this connection that you're trying to make. Let me pause here and say, this is probably the most important part of this email. It's probably the most important part of this email. Why? Is because people, again, are busy. And one of the things about us human beings, hear me when I tell you this, one of the things about us human beings is we only care about ourselves. That is our default position. I'm not making a judgment call about that. I'm not saying, hey, this is a horrible thing. This is it. I'm just saying this is the way that humans are. We care about our own self more than we care about anything else, generally speaking. And we always want to know what's in it for me. If I'm going to take time to respond to your email, respond to your text, get connected with you, what's in it for me? And what this part of this email does is it answers that question. It answers the value that you're bringing to the table. So after the opening, what you want to do is you want to say, I have these skills, whatever this is, or this amount of experience or these connections. So, for example, you could say something like in my case, I have over 100,000 followers on Instagram and I've connected with a lot of people. Or I do live streams on YouTube and I talk to a lot of musicians. Or I have skills in tech and all of this and sound. I can help your band out with this and this kind of stuff. So I have these skills that I really think could help you solve a specific problem. So whatever the specific problem is. Now, This is going to take some thought on your part. So when you meet people, this is why I always, all of this stuff that I've been saying is connected. This is why I suggest going to shows, going to events and stuff like that. So you peep out stuff, you see what's going on. For example, one of the things that I've done before is I've gone to shows where I've sat there and watched the band, and the band sounded good, but their sound system was horrible. Like it was mics was squealing the whole time. You had one of the people in the band trying to run the sound. You could tell they didn't know what they were doing and all of that kind of stuff. And when I made a connection with them, I connected with them on that level. I said, hey, I know sound really well, and this is something I could really help you with. So I have, again, this is the email. I have this skill. I know sound really well, and I really think that I could help you guys with your sound issue because you seem to be having some sound issues and stuff like that. This is part of the email is very important. Now, the next part of the email is the call to action, what I call the call to action. So what you're going to say is something really simple, like, I would really like to schedule a brief. Again, you want to make it say brief because people are busy. I really would like to schedule a brief call with you to discuss this specific problem that we're talking about. And just a heads up, this is something that you're reassuring them. And just a heads up, I won't be asking for anything. I just genuinely believe I can provide value to you pertaining to this specific problem. So in my example, the sound. Now, breaking that part of it down, it's really important to say the heads up, I won't be asking for anything. Here's why. A lot of emails nowadays are, matter of fact, I would say most emails, personal emails and business emails and the whole nine, are always people asking for something. People wanting something from you, people wanting to get something from you. If your boss at your job send you an email, it's almost always them asking you for something, not trying to give you something, right? Nobody's emailing you, hey, just wanted to give you a compliment today on the job you did well, the other day, and I want to give you a raise. When does that happen? They're always saying, oh, can you do this? Can you make sure next time do this? It's always that kind of stuff. So this part of the email is reassuring them that you're not asking for anything. That makes it 100 times more likely that they're going to respond, right? So that's important. Now, from there, it's really simple. You're going to propose a time. So you're just going to say, can we set a call for tomorrow at 5 p.m. your time? And the your time part is important because just like a lot of us here today, Arizona is on here. We had Virginia on here, Australia, Jamaica, all of these places, and we're all in different time zones. So right now it's 3:53 p.m. my time. It's a different time where you guys are. And you want to be considerate of that when you're talking to someone else. So you want to have done the work to understand where they live. If it's the case where you've connected with someone online or something like that, this doesn't always apply because if you go into a show and the people you meet live in the same spot you live in, of course you're on the same time zone, so you don't have to include this. But in the case where this applies, you want to include that. So you want to do the work to know their time zone and know that conversion. So if I'm connecting with, say, Emperor here in Arizona, I know Arizona's time is an hour or 2 hours behind mine, right? So I'm going to say 5 o'clock your time, which I know that's 7 o'clock my time, right? So that's important. So that's proposing the time. And then just the ending is really simple. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to hearing back and speaking with you. And then your signature, and then you put your name there. Very, very simple process, very simple email. And this email, again, has yielded me a lot of success over the years when I've wanted to connect with people and build networks. Matter of fact, this is the same email. I use a little bit of a different variation of it, but it's the same email I use when I'm connecting people with people in the industry, booking agents and people like that, and people that are new to the city that have shown up, that are, doing great things, and somebody I may want to get connected with. I reach out to these people with this email as well. And when I tell you, it does very well. Now, let me be clear about something. You won't always get a reply when you make these emails. This is not a be all end all. It's not send this email and then that's going to create the best connection in the world. I want to be very clear about that. So you want to build follow-ups and stuff too. And I do have a follow-up email that I'll give you guys at a later date too, like if the initial email doesn't work. But again, you have to go into it understanding that people are busy. So you could send an email and they may see it, they may not see it. It may be a week or two before they even check their email because they're so busy. It may go to their spam or junk folders. There's all of this stuff, which is why you don't want to. This is what happens. Pay attention to what I'm about to say. This is what happens when a lot of people I meet, and I teach musicians this kind of stuff, and I tell musicians about going to clubs and meeting the bar owners and the booking agents and stuff like that. They'll say, well, I tried it this one time and it didn't work, so this doesn't work. Okay, so you tried it once and you didn't get the results you want. So you've determined that it doesn't work. It's the same principle here. Like, there's reasons why this stuff it's a process. So you send an email, they may not get it, they may see it and brush over it. They may not recognize your name and they just kind of delete it by accident. I do that in my emails all the time. When I wake up, I got 4 or 5 emails accounts and I'm going through them and just trying to get all the junk out of the way. So I'm like, delete. And then who do I recognize the name? Delete, and all of that kind of stuff. So sometimes it takes a follow-up in sending a couple of emails. So again, I just wanted to give you guys that. Again, let me put it up full screen here for you guys one more time. If you haven't taken a screenshot of it yet, you can go ahead and do that now. I'll leave it up for just a few seconds while we're talking about it so you guys can use this. And again, I want you to do this like starting today. I want you to do this work that we've talked about. I want you to start identifying those 3 contacts that you may want to use and start crafting this email now. Again, the principle of doing something when you first learn the knowledge, it's called the principle of speed of implementation. What that means is that when you learn something, the sort of veracity and the umph and the knowledge and the motivation that you have about doing it is at its highest when you learn it. So when you get off this live stream, by the time you get off this live stream, your motivation about taking action is consistently going down like that. You're going to forget about it. You got your day going on. You got other stuff to do. You got to get something to eat. You're going to forget about it. And then tomorrow you're like, okay. Speed of implementation is something that is extremely important. So start the process now while we're talking about it. Don't wait. Start the process. Start identifying those 3 people in your mind. Start using this email, type your name in, and have the email already written out, ready to go. That's going to greaten the chances that you're going to succeed in it. All right, guys. So that is it. That has been our networking for musicians, finding the right people. This is a system. This is the how, and this is the what and how you do this. So I hope this live stream has been extremely valuable for you. I was excited about teaching you this stuff because I know it's valuable and I know it works. So thank you guys so much again for being here. And I'll take some questions. If you guys have any really quick, just let me know what questions you have. What questions do you have about anything that we've talked about or anything that you may want to ask briefly before we jump off of here? We'll stay on about another few minutes. So just go over here to the chat one more time, see what you guys are saying. Emperor, we're saying more like a block party. Oh, you're still talking about the HOA thing. And you're also saying, Emperor, musicians and engineers build networks for sure. Big egos and certain producers alienate each other. Yeah, that happens quite a bit too. A lot of the stuff that I'm talking about here, this is why I'm talking about a lot of the stuff that we talked about going into this building networks and how you approach it with humility and stuff is really going to be important, and not about having an ego and thinking that you're better than somebody and all of that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff just does not work. That creates the lone island mentality. You go into it, oh, I'm this, I'm that, I can do this, you need me. That's that lone wolf ego mentality. So yeah, this is not going to work. Aaron is saying the people I know that get paid to play music never want to get together to play for fun. It's all business. Yeah, Aaron. I would say that there is a lot of truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that because as I'm reading it, I'm thinking about myself. It's very rare. It's not all business for me. It's not all business for me. There is some fun and stuff related in it. But when you're used to doing things a certain way, when you're used to handling things a certain way, when you're used to getting paid for your time, paid really well for your time and what you do, and you're putting your time and energy into perfecting and enhancing yourself and your craft so that you can achieve more, so that you can do more. A lot of that, what we call fun stuff, how we do it, kind of gets put to the side. And maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. I'm not here to judge it one way or the other. I'm just saying what you're saying is true. But that said, that doesn't mean that that connections aren't able to be made with those types of musicians. They are. It's just they got to be made different. You can't approach them with trying to do something fun. You can't approach a musician like that and say, this again is something that takes the knowledge of like what you're trying to do here. You can't approach a business minded person and say, hey, let's just get together and jam. It just the likelihood of that happening is small. It's not impossible, but it's small. You want to approach them on their terms. Go on their side of the street, talk to them in their terms. That way they hear you and they understand you. So when you're writing this email, the value that you're bringing to them in that email that we just talked about is not something, hey, just want you to know if we could get together and jam. That's not bringing them value. So when you're approaching them in that manner, you want to think about the thing or how you can be valuable to them. Emperor saying, yep, it's two now. What do you mean two, Emperor? I'm not catching what you're saying there. Aaron is saying, how do you balance free work that gets your name out with trying to get paying gigs, especially when playing for church or related events? Ooh, that's a good question, man. Free work that gets your name out there. Honestly, there's not much of a balance of that needs to be made at all, because it's a little bit of a farce. Free work that gets your name out there. It just doesn't happen like that. That's that exposure thing, right? Free work that gets your name out there. Now, again, I just talked about this on, I think, last week's live stream, where you got to be careful about the exposure stuff. It's not that some of it that you can't take and some of it that it doesn't work. It's just that you got to be really picky and smart about that kind of stuff. An exposure gig to me that I would take for exposure is a gig where someone calls me and says, hey, there's this event happening where there's going to be 10,000 people there. We're going to have this speaker, this person, this big time, Tony Robbins, whoever, or big, I don't know, what's a big pastor, TD Jakes. He's going to be, speaking at this event. You're going to be the entertainment for when people are coming in. You're going to be able to, sell your CDs, whatever you wanted to be doing. And it's a spot where I can really network and put these principles in place where I'm talking about. To me, that's an exposure opportunity. That's a free opportunity. If they say, oh, we want you to come do this for free, that would be an opportunity that I would consider, versus this kind of crazy stuff that most of us get proposed to. Hey, can you come play for our church service? Or can you come do this gig? There's going to be a lot of people there. They can't name who's going to be there, but it's going to be a lot of people there. It's usually that kind of stuff where it's like not even worth your time. So for me, when you're talking about balance, there is no balance there. For me, there's no such thing as free time. My time is not free. It's just not. For me, remember when I just talked about all of us humans are about what's in it for me? That includes me too. Now, what I've learned to do to balance that is I like to give more than I get. So wherever I show up to, you're never going to be able to pay me what my worth is, because I've made it a thing in myself in where I'm always going to give more than what I'm being paid to do, even if it's just a little bit. So I'm always going to be above and beyond what I'm being paid to do. But for me, my time is not free. That's just not how it works. My free time is when I'm sitting at home playing a video game or watching TV. That's free for me. So, getting that with paying gigs is kind of like you have to, again, get in this business mindset and put yourself in that field. You want to be a player. It's like if you want to do any sport, you want to be in the NBA or wherever, the NFL, you want to play football, you want to play basketball. You got to learn the rules of the game. And you got to get in that game and start playing it like you know the rules. And then, of course, once you get in the game, you can do it how you want. But if to get yourself in the game, you got to do that. So, again, what I would say to answer your question, Aaron, is just when you're talking about paying gigs and all of that kind of stuff, you really want to figure out for yourself what your time is worth, what you're willing to say no to, so that you can create the opportunities that you want. And you don't have to be depending on someone giving you free stuff or asking you to do something for free, rather. And then also working on your craft, getting better and stuff at what you're doing, not only your music skills and all of that, but your business skills, your communication skills, all of that, so that you actually become more valuable. So I hope that helps, Aaron. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here. I actually have, it's about 4:06 p.m. my time now. I actually have a gig in about 2 hours that I got to get ready to leave for. So I got to do that and grab something to eat really quickly before we do that. So we're going to cut this thing now. Thank you guys so much for being here. All of you that have been on the live streams weekly with us. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you for contributing to what we're doing. Again, if you haven't taken the time to like the video and subscribe to the channel, if you haven't do that and you're watching, please go ahead and do that now. That helps out with everything that we're doing around here. And I appreciate you and your time so much. So look for the next live stream next week. What I'm going to be doing just really quickly, and Carter saying good luck with the gig. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carter. Yeah, it's going to go. It's a pretty cool solo gig too that I'm doing. So it's really easy. I'll be doing my own thing. But what I'm going to be doing, if you guys keep an eye on the community tab on the YouTube channel, I'm going to put up like weekly and ask you guys what you want these live streams to be about. Because again, my thing's about giving value to you as much as I can. So I want to talk about and base these live streams off things that you guys want to talk about that you're dealing with. So if you have suggestions with that, you can even drop it in the chat here. I'll come back and check the chat for the video so you guys can let me know that. But I'll be posting up polls and stuff on the YouTube community tab that you can check out so you guys can let me know what you may be interested in talking about. But again, thank you guys so much for being here. I will see you in the next video. You guys have a great day. Make some great music, build your networks, apply all of these principles that we're talking about here.